Hello and welcome to Renaming Numbers. This is Chapter 2, Lesson 4 from the Nelson Math Focus textbook. And you're listening to MathCasts with Mr. Burko. Let's get started. Our goal today is to use decimals to represent numbers greater than 1 million. Up until now, we've been representing numbers in the millions by this type of format. But you can use a technique called decimal millions, and that's going to make it easier for us to rattle off a number of different numbers that are big like this. So the question on page 46 of our textbook says, how can you compare the population of Vancouver-Surrey to the populations of other areas? And of course, these are all major centers in Canada. Kendra decides to break it down into steps. She says, step 1, rename the numbers with estimates. So here is the actual population of Vancouver-Surrey, 2,116,581. And if you round it off here at the 100,000, turn all these into zeros, then you get 2.1 million. Now remember, 2.1 is not the same number as 2.1 million, not by a long shot. But if you put million, that means that there's all those extra spaces after, but you don't have to write them. You're saying million, so you're saying those 6 spaces exist. Step 2, write the other populations with decimal millions. All right, so we are going to take Calgary. We have 1,079,310 people in Calgary, or we did at least at this time. And we're going to round it off to the 100,000. So that gives us 1.1. Why did we round up here? Because in the 10,000s, there was a 7. And since it's over 5, we are going to round up automatically. So that becomes 1.1 million. Your turn. I would like you to take the population of Edmonton, Montreal-Laval, Ottawa-Gatineau, and Toronto, and I'd like you to turn those into decimal millions. We'll go over the answers shortly, but pause the presentation, grab a piece of paper and a pencil, and give it your best shot. Welcome back. Let's talk about your answers. Our population of Calgary, as we know, was 1,079,310, and we got 1.1 million. In Edmonton, it became 1.0 million, or just 1 million. And Montreal-Laval becomes 3.6 million, because that 3 isn't over 5. Ottawa-Gatineau is 1.1 million. Toronto is 5.1 million, and Vancouver-Surrey, of course, as we remember, was 2.1 million. So, step 3 says compare each population to that of Vancouver-Surrey. Well, Vancouver-Surrey we know was 2.1 million, so we're going to compare the other populations, and we're going to describe what we see in those comparisons. So, for instance, 1.1 million in Calgary is about half as many as in Vancouver-Surrey. Edmonton is also about half as many at 1 million. But Montreal-Laval is about twice as many as Vancouver-Surrey because it has 3.6 million. Ottawa-Gatineau has 1.1 million, which, similar to Calgary, is about half as many. And Toronto at 5.1 million is about 2.5 times as many. So that means twice as many and half more than that. Here's the 3 questions I'd like you to answer. Question A, why would it be useful to write 1.1 million instead of 1,079,310 or 1.08 million? Tell me why we would choose 1.1 million in the case of Calgary, for instance. B, why can you write an estimate for the population of Ottawa-Gatineau as either about 1.1 million or about 1.13 million? Now keep in mind that the population of Ottawa-Gatineau is 1,130,761, and then you can tell me that answer. And C, why would you describe the population of Montreal-Laval as about 3.5 million? Pause the presentation and give me the answers to those questions. I'm not going to give you the answers afterwards. We'll talk about them in class tomorrow. And thank you for listening.